Hello, class. I'm here to walk through problem number 3, which was the access database uh, question from the homework. You'll be excited to know that we will not have any access questions like this on the exam, just because it doesn't work to run the database within the exam. But there will be questions potentially on like what type of functions would you use in SQL in order to pull information from a database. Nothing complex, but similar to the other problems in this chapter. So I will walk through how to put together some queries in Microsoft Access. And as I'm doing that, I'm going to show you the SQL that is going on behind, or SQL, as they refer to it. So the SQL queries that are running in the background to pull out the information that we need. All right, so in the upper right hand here, you'll see I've got these are just the questions out of problem number 3 for that chapter 4 homework. I took a screenshot of it so that we could view those questions and keep track of what it is that we are trying to solve for as we go here. All right, so in order to run a query, first of all, I'm going to show you, we would go up here to create, and there is a query wizard here, but I really don't find it super easy to use. Honestly, like the queries are a little complex regardless of how you do them, but I find the query wizard just really doesn't work. So I don't necessarily recommend doing that. I recommend, especially if you're trying to just grab particular items, to start with the query design, and then you can tweak it in the SQL design view if you want. So I'll walk through exactly how to do that. Now, for query design, I'm going to click on that, and it's going to bring me into a basic query here, which is blank. And we just need to figure out what it is that we want. So the question that we are trying to solve here, and actually maybe I will make this a little narrower so that we can see the question at the same time here a little bit. And I don't think making this bigger is going to make it any easier to see, but we don't need that much room. So this should work for us. Okay, so the first question we're looking at is the sales table records the quantity and price of each item sold. Calculate the extended amount of the sale for each item. Okay, so what we can do here, so pull up the sales items table here. So I just clicked and dragged that in here to pull in, and it says, okay, so this is the table that it's going to start off with. And they want us to include invoice ID, inventory ID, quantity, and unit price. So I'm going to grab those items, and you can just double click them and it will pull them down below. So I'm going to pull all 4 of those, but now I want to have an expression that will do a mathematical function here, right? I want to take the, it says take the quantity times the unit price. So this star symbol up here allows you to reference this. And I don't know what message I'm getting there, but all right, we'll go for that. Oh, okay, there we go. You can't calculate totals on the asterisk. So it's telling me that the star here, when I double click on that, it's going to pull in sales items dot star. So I have to fill in, okay, what items do I want here? So I'm just going to click OK. Actually, I'll just grab it this way and then edit this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the sales items table dot quantity. Make sure you get it capitalized correctly. Quantity times, so this asterisk symbol is to multiply, times sales items dot unit price. Okay. So that, and then that's going to be from the sales items table. And so from there, I'm going to, hold on a second here. I do want, oh, and it has it grouped by. So I don't really want to group by this. I'm not sure why it's wanting to sum this. Usually the group by doesn't show up unless you're summing, but I'm going to go ahead and just put group by there. So it's grouped across all of these items. Um, and I am going to save this as item extension calculation and click OK. Okay, why is this? Oh no, and I want this actually as a select. That's why, because it was on cross tab up there. So it's giving me that error. This should have been under select. Not sure why it was defaulting to cross tab, but make sure you have it select up here or you will get an error. So go ahead and save that again. And then I'm gonna run this and oh, there we go. Remove the sum part. There we go. Because we did not want that summed. Invoice ID, inventory quantity, unit price, sales items, quantity times sales items, unit price. Actually, I might be able to just put it as, let's try this, quantity times unit price. There we go. It mixed some stuff up having that cross tab in there initially, but now we see here, if we take the 18 times the 690, we get 124. So now we've got our first query there, and we can check our math really quick just to make sure, because sometimes it'll pop stuff up and it will be not pulling it how you expect it to. So let's just do, yeah, so it's pulling that correctly. All right, so notice it put us back in tables view here. I'm going to go back into queries here. So we've got that query. And then so what's tricky is if you're in here now and you're suddenly like, wait, where did all of my stuff at the bottom go? Look for this over here where it says view, and you can go back to design view and it'll put it back into this view. So this one's not a super, and it's scrolled over there also. So we'll do that. Hit save again. So not a super difficult query. We're grabbing all those items and then we entered in an expression here. So we can just enter in, by the way, the expression. Another way of doing this, I'm going to show you. If you're in here, you can actually click on Builder and you can choose items. So if I double click on quantity here and then go down to operators, I can do times and then back to item extension here, unit price, and do it that way, and it'll build it the same way. So that's another way you can do it besides typing it, and it might be actually easier to do it that way using that function. Now, if you've got one of these in here and you find you just don't want it, you can just go in here and just delete that out, and then it'll remove the extra column automatically. And when you run this, by the way, you just need to click here to go back to design view to get it back in there. So if I do that, I can, let's just cut that out of there. All right, so that's our first one because they wanted us to extend it by the extended price, because we're going to use that extended price then. Hit save again. When we're going to use this extended price for some future queries. So this is like for this invoice ID and inventory ID, this is what the extended price. So it's telling me for each inventory ID on each invoice, what is the extended price of the items that were sold. All right, so now we can use that information from this query and we can pull that in if we want. Now, if we wanted to, we could actually add a column onto our table back here for sales items to put that in here if we wished to do so. So I'm going to just go into design view. Oops, click OK. And it's saying, oh, we don't want to have you do stuff while you're using this somewhere else. But if I wanted to, I could add a field here Oops, it's not letting me edit it right now because it's being used in the query. So sometimes it gets finicky if you try to open stuff up, but we could add an amount here and then put expression, and we could put that permanently in here if we wanted to, if we were thinking we were going to use it enough. But I'm going to go ahead and close that. And then I'm going to close this. I'm going to save this query and close this also so that I can work on another query. All right, so the next thing we need to do, it says calculate the total dollar amount of each sale, include invoice ID, invoice date, customer ID, and employee ID from the sales table, and the amount from the item extension calculation query. Okay, so let's go here, create query design. And then we need to, so we can pull in a table. We can also pull in another query. I'm going to go ahead and pull this query in here because we're going to use that amount field that we wanted to create. Let me just open this really quick. And trying to rename that. Let's go to design view here. And see if we can call this amount. That'll work. All right, well, looks like it worked. If it run it, yay, now it has a mount on it. Okay, so we've got that part in there. All right. So going back here to our next query, going to query design mode, I'm going to pull this in. So it's got our amount on here. And then it said we also needed items from each sale, from the sales table. So let's go and pull the sales table in here also. And we want to get the total dollar amount of each sale. So first, let's pull in all the columns that we want because it's telling us to use invoice ID, invoice date, customer ID, and employee ID. And then we are going to pull the amount from the query we just did. All right. Now, notice there's nothing down here that lets us sort this. So if we go up here and we click on sum totals, it adds a method where we can choose to group something. So we're actually going to put in here, I want actually the sum of these. And so if I look in here now, I should have if I go out here and go to view SQL and look at this, this is showing me the SQL programming that's going on in the back. So it's selecting all of those items that we did, as well as our summed calculation here as sum of amount. And it says from where are we getting these, and it's making an inner join between our query and our sales table. And then it is grouping these by sales invoice ID, invoice date, customer ID, and employee ID. Now, these items should all be the same in here. So it should just pull this up, basically sorting it by the invoice ID. So I'm going to go back to my design view. I'm going to go ahead and hit save here before I run this. And I'm going to call this sale amount calculation. And I'm going to save all these as separate ones so that we can reuse them. So I'm going to make sure I'm clicked on that. And then I'm going to go ahead and run this. And whoops. So now we see here that we've got these by number here, okay, by invoice ID. So we've got that part done. All right, now the next thing it wants us to do is calculate total sales from each inventory item, okay? So thinking about this did this by invoice ID. it's not telling us to add a whole bunch of extra stuff here. So what I'm gonna do is, I think I'm just gonna grab only the columns that I want here. Sales for each inventory item. So create query design. And I'm gonna just grab, let's see, so I'm gonna need the amount from this one for sure. And I can do this by just adding, I think, the invoice ID, right? And then the amount. And then if I do it and I put that I want to sum this, I should be able to just group it by summing that and then run this. So let's go ahead and run that. And if I do this and I sort this A to Z, okay, I'm only getting unique identifiers. So to me, this looks like it works. So again, that gets us that. However, so looking out in the problem for the first part D in this problem, it's telling us to tell the total sales by name. So I'm actually going to add in I'm going to add in the name here, which let's look here. I betcha that's going to be under, is that under sales items here? Oh, no, it's not in there by. Well, I'm going to leave this one in here. Let's try sales because invoice ID is there. Do they have the, oh no, nope, I don't need that one. All right, let's remove that table. What I actually want is inventory, I think. Yeah, so because I want the name here. So we're going to group it by name, and the name and the invoice, each invoice ID should have only one name. So let's go ahead and look at this again. I'm going to save this as sales by item. Let's just call it. They didn't tell us what to call it, so I'm just going ahead and doing that. So click on that one and then click run. Oh, what do I got here? I've got something that let me double check. I'm going to go back in here to my design view. It's a select function and maybe I actually, let's see, do I actually need the sales items one? I'm going to remove this one just in case. Because sometimes having too much stuff will actually gum it up here. So I've got item extension calculation, and inventory. And I want to sum it by that. So that should, let's try rerunning it now. Okay. Parameter value. Why is it asking me for that? Let me pause for a second here. Oh, well, first of all, I've got the wrong thing there. I don't want invoice ID. I wanted inventory ID. So let's switch that and hit save. There we go. Now it's grouping it because it was trying to do a cross tab with too many items. That's why. So the inventory ID, I just grabbed the wrong field. So inventory ID and name match. So now we've got that. And now we've got these by name. So you should be able to grab your items there. All right. Let's see. The next thing we want is total sales. Oh, okay. Well, this should be actually super easy. So let's go out to create query design. And then I think all we want is to take the amount, and I think we just want to do a sum total here. Let's do that. See what it looks like. Opus, and it's grouping it. Hold on. Let's go back to that design view here for a second. Oh, I forgot to put sum down here. So put your sum, save it as, let's total sales, and run that. And we got that. So I'm not leaving that up on the screen. I want y'all to actually run the query yourselves to get your total, and then calculate the month in which each sale occurred. Include invoice ID and invoice date from the sales table. Oh, okay. All right. So here we're gonna do we're going to need to add in another expression here. So one of the things you can do is from a date, you can pull a month, a day, or a year using a function. So I'll show you how to do that. We're going to go to create query design, and then we are wanting sales by month. So let's go ahead and put in item extension calculation, and there's no date in there. So we need the sales, probably the sales one. Yeah, to get invoice date, because I don't think invoice items has date. No, it doesn't. Or sales items has date. So let's go ahead and so we just need sales, we need item extension, and we're going to do invoice date. We're going to use the expression builder though. So let's go ahead and do a data definition here, or no, sorry, builder function here. Except I want to go back in there. Yeah, whatever, go to builder here. And then we're going to do, let's see, operators. String now, let's see here. Okay, they don't have this function in here, looks like. Let's see, date and time function. Here we go. That's what I'm looking for. So I did built-in functions, date and time, and what I want is month. So if I do month, and we need to put whatever the date function is in here. So once we've got that month in parentheses, we're going to do our sales invoice date. So that is now inside of these brackets here. All right, so we're going to do month invoice date as our first thing here. And actually, I think this is in, oh, it put us in SQL views. So we'll just put the select there, and then I'll put just gonna put that there, and then I'm gonna go over, oh, it's only putting me in SQL view. All right, we'll do this differently. Go to create and query design, and then go ahead and put in your sales table and your item extension calculation. And then what I want to do then is I'm going to put invoice date in there first. And then I'm going to put in the amount. But in here, I'm going to click into this one and then go to builder here. And I'm going to put in that same function. So if I go to functions, built-in functions, date and time, month, double click on that. Basically, we just want it to be inside here. And you could actually just type this into that field if you wanted also. But this way it pulled it down here and it's not monkeying around with putting us into SQL view here. So, all right, so expression 1 month, and we're going to do a sum total here. So make sure you put sum down here, and then it's going to group it by this. And we want to make sure that that is from the sales table. So make sure you got all of that in there, and that should do it. Let's go ahead and make sure we save this. Extra, oh, I got an extra bracket in there. Hold on. Let's look at that. So I've got a left bracket, round and square. I'm gonna go over here because I think so round and square on the outside, and then I've got square and round on that side. I think it fixed it. Maybe not. Extra right bracket. Where are you seeing an extra right bracket there? All right. Oh, we got to have a left square bracket around our month there in our code. Okay, so I'm going to actually go into SQL view. Not sure why it's doing that. Just do this. Nothing in there and go to builder. All right. Try that again. Built-in functions, date and time, month. Oh, I must have double clicked on something. And then I'm going to highlight that and I'm going to put tables, invoice date there. All right. Looks correct to me. Try that. There we go. All right. So by typing it, partially typing it, I think I made it angry rather than just selecting everything out of the list there. So, but now if we go and run it, okay, so it looks like it's totaling it up. We've got months 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, 11, 12. So you should be able to pull your results that way. Go ahead and click save. And so that should be everything that you need for answering the questions in problem number 3. And hopefully me walking through it and showing you some of the things that can give you errors and things has helped with getting that figured out.